Ever since its release in Lost Origins, the Colress Comfey engine has always been at the top of the metagame. It enables a cheap and fast attacking option in Cramorant, a powerful spread attack that goes through Manaphy in Sableye, and a multitude of primary and tech attackers via Mirage Gate. Because of the engine's incredible flexibility, many distinct Lost Box archetypes are able to compete together in the same metagame. Despite the introduction of 4 new expansions and a rotation since Lost Origins release, Lost Box variants in some way or another have always managed to resurface at the top tables in the largest tournaments. And judging by results from their most recent tournaments in the new Paldea Evolved format, that doesn't appear to be changing anytime soon. One of the most difficult challenges Lost Box variants have to overcome is hand disruption. In the past, cards like Marnie, Judge, and Roxanne often stopped them from putting together crucial combinations of cards they needed to set up their attackers or to reach the number of cards in the Lost Zone that they needed to hit for Cramorant, Mirage Gate, or Sableye. Most Lost Box lists rely on just 4 Colress's Experiment as their only draw supporters, and a hand without one is often a recipe for missing critical attacks. So when Paldea Evolved's Iono was revealed, many players doubted Lost Box could overcome its overpowering late game disruption. The Lost Box variant, with the most results prior to the release of Paldea Evolved, relied on setting up Kyogre from Celebrations to use its Aqua Storm attack to close out games. By drawing through their entire deck, a Kyogre Lost Box player can use Energy Recycler to guarantee their deck is full of energy cards for Kyogre to discard, allowing them to take multiple knockouts on high HP Pokemon V, VMAX, and V-Star after they had been set up with damage from Sableye's Lost Mine. At first, Iono may not seem to hinder this strategy too much because Kyogre can wait to take multiple knockouts at once to delay Iono's effectiveness. And with Paldea Evolved's reintroduction of an item card that recovers Pokemon and energy in Super Rod, this strategy seems even easier to execute than before. However, Super Rod's addition actually turns out to end up hindering Aqua Storm plays more than it helps enable them because of its synergy with the pesky mythical Pokemon Manaphy. Manaphy's Wave Veil ability prevents all damage done to its owner's benched Pokemon by their opponent's attacks, completely nullifying Aqua Storm and another of the most popular Mirage Gate fueled attacks, Greninja's Moonlight Shuriken. Sableye's Lost Mine was a very effective counter to Manaphy throughout the Scarlet and Violet format, as it can freely place damage counters on Manaphy to knock it out while setting up damage elsewhere. An opponent would have to use their one supporter for the turn on Clara or Miriam to recover Manaphy, which would prevent a potential hand disruption supporter card from being used at the same time. Now, Super Rod makes it much easier to recover Manaphy multiple times per game, and allows a hand disruption supporter card to be played at the same time. Playing around Iono by waiting to take prize cards until Aqua Storm can take multiple knockouts at once is not possible when opponents can force you to knock out Manaphy 3 times while disrupting at the same time. As a result of this, and the metagame shifting away from the matchups Kyogre is most useful in, Lugia and Mew, most succeeding players have abandoned Kyogre Lost Box variants. Arguably the best deck from the Scarlet and Violet format is now nowhere to be found at the top tables. However, it should come as no surprise that Lost Box decks haven't been abandoned altogether. If you want to support the channel, you can use code Tablemon to get 5% off at Potent Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 10% off on your aluminum accessories at TC Evolutions. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. This video is sponsored by the Pokemon TCG deck building website PokemonCard.io. ¿Eres de México y necesitas cartas de Pokémon? Busca Hyperbeam Cards en Facebook e Instagram. Y si estás en Tijuana, búscalos en el local C27 en el Centro Comercial Otay. All 6 of the Lost Box list we have access to out of 7 from top 32 of the 2023 North American International Championships, as well as the majority of the decks from the Puerto Rico special event, feature Dragonite V, Raikou V, Drapion V, and 2-3 Forest Hill Stone, the variant most commonly known as Turbo Lost Box. This is the most similar variant to the Kyogre Lost Box list that dominated the Scarlet and Violet format, but replaces Kyogre, Energy Recyclers, a Clara, and a couple energy cards with 3-4 Super Rod, a Drapion V, and additional consistency. Super Rod allows attackers to be much more easily recovered, which makes the one-off Pokemon V much more flexible than before. Forest Hill Stone and Lost Vacuum allow players to consistently get their cards in the Lost Zone as fast as possible, and in some cases, Star Alchemy can be saved to act as a bailout from Iono late game. Additionally, half of the list from NAIC include Palpad, which acts as another countermeasure to Iono. Because Iono shuffles each player's hand to the bottom of their deck, a well-timed Palpad can put supporter cards back in a player's deck for them to have a high likelihood of drawing into from the Iono, and a use of Comfey's Flower Selecting. This card can be especially good in another variant of Lost Box, one focused around Radiant Charizard. The Radiant Charizard Lost Box variant was the most powerful in the earliest formats it was legal in, but it's now generally considered weaker than the Turbo variant. One of the major factors driving it away recently has been the prevalence of Lost City in Arceus decks, Mew decks, and now Xianpao Baxcalibur decks too. Recovering Radiant Charizard to attack with multiple times is where this variant gets its strength. So when a player can put Radiant Charizard in the Lost Zone by knocking it out with Lost City in play, the deck struggles to close out games. However, when Lost City isn't getting in the way, this variant does have some advantages over the others. The Radiant Charizard variant doesn't rely on any Pokemon V, which allows it to avoid detrimental openings where other variants can be forced to start an undesirable Pokemon V in the active spot at the start of the game. It also has more room for tech cards like Mawile, a common counter to a deck like Gardevoir EX, which lacks switching cards to move their Pokemon around. Radiant Charizard is also capable of preparing for Iono more easily than other variants, because an attacker and an energy card are often the only things needed each turn near the end of the game. A Radiant Charizard player can draw most of their deck and then use Super Art or Palpad to return multiple Pokemon or Clara to the deck to draw into. If you have enjoyed the video so far and found the information useful, please consider becoming a Tablemon channel member through the join button down below. For as low as $1.99 a month, you can help support the creation of these videos. The final Lost Box variant that has been successful in the Paldea Vault format so far is based around Giratina V-Star. This variant benefits from the introduction of Jet Energy in Paldea Vault. Jet Energy acts as both an energy card that fulfills Lost Impact's attack cost, as well as acting as a switching card, which increases the consistency of Giratina decks. It also gives more room to work with than other variants, which results in them playing multiple disruptive supporter cards. Giratina V-Star is also more resilient against Iono than Turbo Lost Box because it's able to more easily set up attackers ahead of time, so it doesn't need anything for Iono to disrupt. Comfey-based Giratina V-Star decks have been very successful in Japan recently, but that success hasn't carried over to the rest of the world just yet. However, 2019 World Champion Henry Brand did bring a unique take on the archetype to NAIC, including 4 copies of Cross Switcher, but he was unable to advance to Day 2 with it, and it has been quite successful as of late in the online tournament scene over at Limitless. Heading into the World Championships, we can expect to see the Turbo variant dominating the share of Lost Box variants, but with Japanese players competing at the event, we may see more Giratina V-Star than we've been used to. There are other interesting cards to potentially include in these sort of decks. Zamazenta from Crown Zenith, the new Luxray from Paldea Vault, Snorlax from Lost Origin, and even Tropius from Evolving Skies has been tried as a way to KO Tyranitar V through weakness in a single hit. Technically, you could play any Pokemon with the Lost Zone engine thanks to Miragegate, so perhaps there's still a yet to be discovered variant that can surprise us. Hopefully this video helps you out with a solid understanding of what makes Lost Box decks tick, and where it stands in the metagame as we head into the World Championships in Yokohama, Japan. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and leave a comment if you found it useful or if you think there's something I overlooked. Until next time!